Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including huge delays for Tesla's next car, Cybertruck updates, new hidden Model 3 features, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, we're seeing some exciting firsts from the Cybertruck. We've been seeing this truck being tested on city streets for a while now, but we still haven't seen everything it can do. We've seen it being towed plenty of times, but now it has been spotted showing off its own towing capabilities. Around the time this truck was first announced, Elon said he wanted it to drive better than a sports car and be more useful than an F-150. That of course led many to expect it to have a fairly high towing capacity. When it was unveiled, they announced that capacity would be over 14,000 pounds. That was 4 years ago though, so these specs have likely changed a bit. Now, OMG_Tesla/Rivian got several videos of it towing a large ATC trailer. The Cybertruck is almost 20 feet long, so this trailer is probably about 24 feet long. The estimate there would be that it's around 5,000 pounds if it's empty. It would make sense if what we're seeing here is Tesla testing for the truck's towing capacity on a release candidate, considering how close we're getting to initial deliveries. What everyone is still wondering though is how efficient it is. Towing efficiency is especially important in electric vehicles, so most are hoping for a usable range of at least 200 miles while towing a significant load. Tesla still says it'll have, quote, up to 500 miles of range on their website, so hopefully that'll be easy enough for them to deliver. Another first that was spotted was the Cybertruck with its air suspension higher than we've seen before. Right before being loaded onto the semi, the Cybertruck's suspension is raised, and this could be as high as it goes. Right behind it is another Cybertruck that hasn't been raised yet, and we can see an impressive difference here. It's a little hard to tell from this perspective, but we can still clearly see the difference in space in the wheel well. This will definitely help it get through rough terrain, and it's great to see Tesla delivering on the features they've been advertising since the beginning. Tesla also appears to be testing the Cybertruck with a dual-motor powertrain. Photos were leaked through the Cybertruck Owners Club that appear to have been taken at a testing facility or port. Its front trunk is open and full of equipment. Inside, we can see a sticker that confirms that this model is a dual-motor variant. A lot of different variants have been discussed over the years, and Tesla hasn't had a configurator open for this truck since 2021, likely because of that. When it was announced to have a single, dual, and tri-motor version. When they took it off of the configurator, Elon said initial production will be 4-motor variant with independent ultra-fast response torque control of each wheel. 2 years later, they're testing a dual-motor Cybertruck. Usually when Tesla is launching a new vehicle, they focus on releasing one version at a time, like many other automakers do. This could definitely mean that the dual-motor Cybertruck will be released first. That's just speculation though. There could be other variants out there testing that we just haven't had any evidence of yet. Tesla does seem to be doing things a little differently with this truck compared to their other releases. Also spotted in the front was a portable power supply. One fan pointed out what we're seeing here is the back of an EcoFlow Delta 2 portable power station. So it looks like they're just using it for testing purposes that they're doing on this specific prototype. That said, Tesla may be adding a power supply to the front at some point. From this side view, it looks like there's a pretty severe panel gap between the doors. To me, it looks like the door just might be slightly open, but if this is an actual panel gap, that would be a serious concern for future prototypes and then production. From the other side, it does look like there may be a misalignment, but it's not nearly as drastic. This could also just be the angle with the light hitting the stainless steel. Then we got a good look at the interior. We haven't been able to see a whole lot of the back seat, but this glimpse makes it look pretty spacious. In the front, this photo shows off a lot of empty space in front of the dash. Of course, we've seen this before, but it looks like it could be a good opportunity for accessories like a sunglasses holder. Over in Las Vegas, the Cybertruck labeled RC was spotted charging up at a supercharger. It has all sorts of testing wires on it and has a tow hitch installed. One thing I noticed here especially though is how close they have to back up to the stall in order to reach the supercharger. Supercharging cables are short by design, and the Cybertruck may end up right at the peak of this design. This will encourage the move to V4 superchargers with longer cables and faster peak speeds. Finally, on the back of another Cybertruck, in typical Tesla styling, there's a funny gag. In what looks to be tape, there's writing that says, "How's my driving? Call 1-800-ELON Musk." I actually called this number just to make sure, and I can report it's just a deadline. Something we have seen before on this truck is its turning radius. this. In this drone shot captured in August, we can see this truck making a U-turn using only 2 lanes without having to back up. This was on a private street at Tesla's factory, but now it's been spotted again on a city street in Santa Clara, California. The driver follows the Cybertruck into a neighborhood where it does a U-turn in a cul-de-sac. It seems to take most of the cul-de-sac to turn around, but misses the car parked on the street with plenty of room to spare. This looks to be about the same turning radius we saw in the drone footage, but up close it doesn't look like the back tires are turning too drastically. That could mean that we've yet to see the tightest U-turn the Cybertruck is able to do, and that's definitely exciting, or this could be the peak. I can't wait for this truck to come out and see everything it's actually capable of and what Tesla delivers. Next up today, a huge part of Tesla's future is always their next car. This is how all companies work, but Tesla in particular has limited the number of cars they have for a while now. They currently only sell 4 models with very small variation on each. The Cybertruck is coming up hopefully soon, but still, Tesla's goal is to ship a cheaper $25,000 EV. This would scale up in a big way and appeal to the masses. At Tesla's Investor Day, they fully unveiled all the pieces that they are putting into this vehicle and the fact that they will produce it at their new factory, Giga Mexico. The timeline there was expected to be very tight, with some saying that first models would roll off the assembly line at Giga Mexico in early 2025. That would introduce Tesla's affordable EV to the North American market, and because it came from Giga Mexico, it would fully qualify for the US federal EV tax incentive. From there, Tesla would take everything that they learned at that brand new factory, making this new car from the ground up, and copy that factory at multiple locations around the world to produce this car. Ultimately, there would be 2 new vehicles on this platform, but first we expected just to see one. Now, however, Giga Mexico is experiencing a lot of delays. Because that tax credit is expected to be around for a long time, we're now hearing that this next-gen vehicle doesn't seem to be a priority for Tesla anymore. According to a publication in Mexico, Tesla's suppliers are holding off on their plans to move forward with construction near the factory. These Chinese suppliers need to obtain land and start construction of their own facilities before Giga Mexico can operate. But due to permitting issues that Tesla has encountered, these plans are not currently able to move forward. According to a Chinese supplier, quote, 2 or 3 months ago there was a lot of rush, lots of pressure to look for a location. But 1 month later, they told us to wait. While it was going around that Tesla was going to be starting production in 2025, they've yet to officially announce a start date for construction of the factory, let alone production. So Tesla isn't delaying any public deadlines. However, the general public will definitely be disappointed to hear that this car isn't coming as soon as we had hoped. According to Reuters, quote, Tesla is eyeing 2026 or 2027 to potentially begin production at a major new factory planned for Mexico. Reforma is estimating, based on Ramble timelines, that with permit timelines, this new factory would only be ready for construction in 2027. It wouldn't even be ready for production then, according to these reports. As always, we take these with a grain of salt because we don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes for Tesla. Giga Shanghai has done a great job scaling up quickly and producing cars very quickly. Texas did a decent job and now produces a ton of Model Ys, but it did take them a lot longer at that factory. However, this is a new country and a new city for Tesla, so they don't know fully what to expect here. We could definitely see these delays, but I wouldn't be surprised if instead of Tesla canceling or pushing this vehicle off into the long future because of Mexico, they just move it to Shanghai first. Giga Shanghai moves very fast. I mean, just look at the new Model 3 Project Highland. It's coming out of Giga Shanghai first because Fremont is delayed behind Giga Shanghai. We might not even see it in the US for another 3 to 4 months or so. So Giga Shanghai definitely could get this done very quickly, produce that car for all the markets that actually like smaller EVs outside of America, and then bring it here eventually through Giga Mexico. It's definitely disappointing to hear about delays, but it pretty much always happens in this realm when we're talking about brand new electric cars, especially when they're brand new from the ground up with a new factory like this one is. Next up today, as we await the official release of the new Model 3 in Europe and eventually in the US, we're getting more and more small details. First, the latest reports and rumors from multiple sources say that this car won't arrive in the US until Q1 of 2024. By then, it could come with a few changes, but some differences to this car that are a bit hidden include the backup shifters located on the headliner near the buttons for flashers, the removal of the front camera from any of Tesla's official renders, different door release buttons, the addition of some sort of blind spot indicator shown with options on screen, and a new roof speaker. Now we have a couple more interesting features coming in. First, in out-of-specs review of the new Project Highland Model 3 in Munich, they were playing around with the rear screen. First, they saw that there is no longer a heated middle seat and that there are only options for the left and right seats. On top of this though, there are buttons to adjust the front passenger seat from this rear screen. This is a feature we see in cars aimed at being a taxi in some form, so that a passenger in the rear can scoot the seat forward themselves to get maximum legroom. This is one of the first times we've seen this in a Tesla, and it's a great demonstration of how useful their software approach is. This likely didn't require any hardware upgrades from Tesla, and is simply something they're adding to the software on the new Model 3 rear screen. Seemingly, this will come to the Model S and X as well. Obviously, with children, this is something that will need to be locked, and I'm sure that option exists or will be coming very soon. As for the trunk on the new Model 3, many have been concerned about the fact that the new taillights are on the trunk itself. That means when it opens up, there are no lights. But Tesla has installed backup lights underneath that take over when the trunk is open. Blinkers and flashers happen on these lights as well as needed and when initiated. This is fairly standard in vehicles today, so this makes a lot of sense and is legally required, but there it is. As for the steering wheel and the touch-sensitive buttons, it appears Tesla has gone with a combination that adds real buttons, or at least feels very close. For the Model S and X, these are entirely touch-sensitive with haptic feedback letting you know that you pressed it. In practice, this is less than ideal, and they seem to have recognized this. In CarWow's review of the new Model 3, they note that the buttons feel real. It's unclear if there truly is movement for these buttons, but at the very least, in multiple reviews now, people have said they feel great. Most still prefer stocks, but Tesla appears to disagree. For those blind spot indicators I mentioned briefly earlier, they have now been spotted in action on the Model 3 refresh. It was first spotted on screen in the new Model 3 settings. This is a new feature that indicates when someone is in your blind spot on top of the blind spot camera and autopilot system illustrating it on screen, and it's definitely a welcomed upgrade. In this video from Clean Automotive, we can see a car pass through the Model 3's blind spot and then see an indicator blinking within the speaker on the A-pillar. This is definitely hidden from a design perspective, but very visible to the driver, and this is fully detailed in Tesla's Model 3 owner's manual. It clearly shows this in the car, and I think this is great. To me, the best system is one that combines both of these things so that you have a clear warning, and then you can also see the camera on screen, so now we're getting that. The only thing I wish we would see is that it was on the exterior of the car, because that can be very helpful for other drivers. When you're driving through someone's blind spot, you know that the car knows that you were there. As for the exterior lights on the new Model 3, for the first time a Tesla light show was spotted running on the new Model 3. It gives us a great demo of where all of the lights are on the new headlights, and it's definitely cool to see. Next up today, Tesla has made another change for the Model S and X, and this one's pretty funny. They've increased the price of the yoke drastically. In my last video, I detailed many of the ways that Tesla is moving towards discontinuing these cars. It's completely gone in right-hand drive markets, production is already lower, prices dropped significantly recently, and a ton of the features that make the Model S cool are now in the new Model 3. Presumably within the next year or so, those will also make their way to the Model Y, so you'll have a cheaper version of each of those cars with a lot of the same functionality. The yoke was first introduced by Tesla on the Model S and X in 2021. It was the only option on the Model S and X at the time and wasn't available on their other cars. It was a controversial decision to not have a round steering wheel as an option on the Model S or X because the yoke still turns at the same degree as a regular steering wheel, so a lot of people found it to be uncomfortable or even unsafe to make a U-turn. When I owned a Model S, I definitely got used to this and didn't mind it, but I definitely understand that you don't want to be forced to have this steering wheel. In any case, it's now a $1,000 upgrade, and some people think this is either Tesla trying to price this so that it seems like a very premium feature, or trying to price people out of it so that nobody actually buys the yoke anymore. Maybe it's just proven for them to be more expensive to make because there's not much demand for it. In any case, Elon originally said there would be no option aside from the yoke on this car, and now it's only an upgrade that costs $1,000. To me, I think it's just another sign that they're getting ready to discontinue these cars. It's only a matter of time, however long that may take. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. The VW ID.4 is getting a major upgrade in 2024 for its higher trim. Options with an 82 kilowatt-hour battery are getting a horsepower upgrade made possible by a new performance drive unit. The rear-wheel drive model will have 282 horsepower, and the all-wheel drive model will have 330 horsepower. That new drive unit will also increase range, but they aren't revealing those numbers yet. The trim will also have a larger 12.9-inch display with backlit sliders and updated climate and infotainment controls. Ahead of this update, they've slashed the price of the ID.4 in China by over $6,000 US. It now starts just over $20,000 US there. At the same time, they've introduced a new electric GTI hot hatch concept. When they came out with the original Golf GTI, GTI stood for Grand Touring Injection, but in the electric world, the I will stand for intelligence. It'll be based on their more affordable ID2 All, which is expected to start around $27,000 US. The GTI will naturally be a bit more than that, but specs have yet to be released. A new Mercedes-Benz model has been spotted, the all-electric EQC. It's slated to be revealed late next year or into 2025, and it's the first vehicle that they're building from the ground up to be electric, built on their new MMA platform. The EQC is thought to be the successor to the gas-powered GLC, but has softer edges. The new platform should boost efficiency and allow for a larger battery, which should increase range even further. They also unveiled their new entry-level CLA sedan at IAA Mobility, also on the MMA platform. It'll have 466 miles of WLTP range and an efficiency of 12 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Other than updated headlights and grille, it keeps most of the design language from their gas-powered CLA. Its different trims will utilize different battery chemistries, with its top level featuring an anode design with silicon oxide content. It'll also be capable of 250 kilowatt DC fast charging and bi-directional charging. On top of that, they boast a whole lot of luxury features that you would expect from Mercedes, including a super futuristic cockpit. Of course, this is just a concept, so it'll likely look a lot different by the time it comes to market. I'm excited for both of these cars to be released and think they would be great options in the US market. VinFast's VF9 has received an EPA range, and it's higher than their initial estimates. VinFast's estimates for the electric SUV were 272 miles for the Eco model and 262 miles for the Plus. The EPA gave them 330 miles and 291 miles respectively, though. That beats the VF8 by about 70 miles. The VF8 Eco has up to 264 miles EPA range and starts at $46,000. The VF9, a larger 3-row SUV with 2 electric motors and an all-wheel drive powertrain, will start at $83,000. For that extra cost, customers can expect up to 402 horsepower, level 2 ADAS, and a number of new entertainment features. That'll include a new in-car streaming service from their partnership with Sony. As for when deliveries will be, their CEO has said, "We expect to export the VF9 in the coming months." That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest for Tesla's battery tech and the Model S that may be disappearing, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.